Welcome to another lonely week of D&D. This week it's an all online game, but with that said, things happened and our friends are just kind of got busy. I actually don't know what to do with that camera that's absolutely empty. I'm like, I don't really have a void to fix that. So
Put Justin's face in there.
no, that's all right. So last week was a quick session because of scheduling issues again. You guys have to wrap up your the attempted assassination attempt, wrap up the battle that was the attempted assassination of Brine as a counterattack from the Cobalt Wolves after a unexpected and terrible loss to their armies invading the Everwood and Nature's Hold. With that, you guys got to talk with Kane and figure out what the heck's not going up with him. Eve was in terrible shape, critical condition. She seemed to have markings of madness on her, and she was put into a critical condition observation, like an ICU, basically, of what they have available to them. And the clerics are tending to that. You guys got a chance to chill out in the bathrooms, or the bath houses, and chill out in the pools while Ulazal frantically try to get ivory tusks from the elephants in the craters right now. I don't even think it's 24 hours after the fight still. I'm pretty sure the phandlin crew is only got a full night's rest.
We've gotten one full night rest.
Yeah.
And it's still like coming up on midday.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's only like noon. Probably 1 or 2 p.m. by this point, actually. So after the bathhouse and all that, we're looking at about 2 p.m. in the afternoon as Kane has inquired to Mosdell about wanting to check for survivors at Strongclaw. You guys might have wanted to look around for any other equipment or features. You got a bunch of quests in a previous session that you could probably pick up rewards for, keep an eye out for as you were going out there. You had the people that were looking for a specific type of glass with water liquid inside it. You had people looking for a palantir. You had general options of which ways you could go. The general agreed upon plan, last you guys were talking, was to go to the Storm Giants to get their help, hopefully, to aid in freeing Yin Yang to the north, to get the fleet back, to then rally at Pinman to free the miners who are right now under siege and by the Cobalt Alliance to the east on the map. You can get Legend Keeper up too, Justin, if you want to take a look at the map and have that up. And you have
you're right. I can do that. You're right.
I'm pretty sure everybody else already has it open from what they were talking about. So with that, you guys have exited the bathhouses.
I wasn't at the bathhouses.
Yeah, we were somewhere else. You weren't at the bath. You were at the teleporter path. You're still with Kane.
I was at the teleporter pad and I saw my brother.
You did. So what do you guys want to
do? Dude, same.
Do not sing.
I think when we left off, I had approached the teleport pad that I had seen him on.
Right, and you sat down. I think that's where we ended last time, actually.
That's where we ended.
All right, so inside this room, this empty room, as the Blackstaff, Salem, and Calgary, plus a bunch of Waterdeep Knights have left and gone out on their day's journey. Brine and her sworn are no longer there. They're taking care of their things. It is just you alone with your thoughts on a teleport pad right now.
I was planning. I wanted to inspect the teleport pad to see if it was like active or something.
Sure.
If there's anything significant about this spot for why.
Go ahead and make an investigation check.
This place is called Everwood, right?
Yes. Everwood.
I knew that.
I like that roll. A 20.
That's a good roll. Looking around, you see that there was runes inside this in the past. Most of it scratched out, and some of it even smoothed over at this point. Whatever magic chalk was used and the engravings on this pad is long gone. With a 20, you look around the room and you see of these, there's 11 of these pads around one in the middle for 12 total circles in this very, very large room. The one in the middle is also extremely large. It'd probably be a few hundred feet across. probably 300 feet across, while the other ones are maybe 6-8 feet across all the way around it. They're meant for normal teleport circle sizes, generally what you would see in this world or in any magical world in D&D. For this, the big one in the middle is just out there, but that was not the one your brother was sitting on. Nothing jumps out to you. There's no language. There's no arcane language that hits you with that investigation check. Most of them have chips in them, have some cracks in them. Some are pretty much untouched from whenever they were last used. But inside this room, it is pretty... no identifiable symbols on the walls, no structures. Besides the pillars in here that support the roof, some of it caved in from the attack. Remember when the Valkyrie came through and stuff like that. The throne room looks way worse, but there are bits and pieces here of rubble that's been knocked down because of the fight, and this was the final stand as Brine was about to be knocked off by the Kobold Alliance you guys killed when you first teleported here.
I'll take my dark coin in my left hand, kind of hold my arm out, kind of take my fingers and kind of softly graze my arm over the tattoos and symbols, and just kind of quietly to myself kind of say, what does all this even mean? And then I'll just make my way out of the room. So I'll slowly walk.
As you were grazing the coin across your skin, you said
So it's like I was holding it in my left hand with my left arm out.
Yeah.
And then using my right hand, I was just kind of
tracing
down, tracing up my left arm.
As you were doing it with the coin, you could see some the glow following the coin through the tracing of the tattoos that are on your person at this point. Just something of note.
Stow it away and go look for my team.
Okie dokie. What are you doing, Mosnell and Bellona?
Are we still in the bathroom?
Yeah, I think we're still in the baths, right?
Yeah, you're still in the baths right now.
This is wonderful.
Kane is.
I am not in that room.
No, you're not.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
You immediately, when you told me, you were by yourself. You were in your own room.
Yep. Oh yeah.
I'm gonna turn this because I keep looking over tonight, and it's gonna be a night of. Nope. So it goes the other way. Going the other way. There we go.
There we go.
All right. There we go. So
Oh yeah.
try and
Look at that.
you a little better. It's still over. I could probably just move it. But keep going. Whatever you guys want to do, it's up to you right now.
Just ruminating.
Who would I find first? I'm just because I kind of knew where they ended up going.
Sure.
So.
I'd say. You run into the bathrooms as you knew they were generally going to that area. As you enter in there, you see the tiefling and the dwarf when you first enter. I believe Bellona is by herself. Belfina is probably by herself as well. Kane and Mosnell are together in a separate area, so you can't really see any of them. So I believe it's just those two when you enter in right now. Noodle's a hot mess right now, trying to trail in and find these pools as well. As I believe
I think
you guys.
Ralia went to the baths as well.
Oh, she did. So Ralia probably
she did.
Would have been with.
She probably hanging out with me.
Yeah, she probably would have been hanging out with you. Yeah, I'll go with that.
Ladies.
Yeah, all the ladies might have chilled out with each other. We'll do that. We'll say all the ladies are with one another.
I'll just kind of breathe a nice sigh of relief.
You hear from the dwarf, "Do you have any alcohol? Anything?"
Unfortunately, no.
God damn this clean fortress of pain! Tiefling's still smoking. Just looking out the window. He has this long pipe that sort of resembles a recorder, and he is just taking shot after shot with that. Hit after hit, rather.
I will,
Shot after shot. I like it. No, I like that better. I'm just imagining.
I will make my way towards Mosnell and join him.
All right. You listen out, and you can hear the groans of Mosnell versus the utter silence of the women.
Yep.
And you see Kane, who is in Mosnell, going under the water and going up and water going everywhere, as they have in the I believe you guys described last time you were testing going underneath the water and feeling that freshness to it. As you go into the waters area, you heal 10 points if you have any healing to do.
Yay! I look a little less battered from that fight because I got beat down. Nice, calming, relaxing. So, this feels nice, Miles. Now,
Oh, Harry, how good of you to join us. That was a bit of a doozy earlier.
this has been a few days of doozies.
Kane's nodding. He's just like, he starts looking
Let's
up.
avoid doozies in the future.
I would love if we could do that.
I hate doozies as well. Speaking of doozies, what's with all the scarring as he has his long nail and his like claw of a hand starts tracing some of it but not actually touching you? Where those look just like Eve's.
Oh, apparently it's the same thing, but it's affecting me differently than it's been affecting the lizard folk.
Well, that's a crock of shit.
You said it.
It seems, at least for now, I still have my sanity. It's given me some benefits, but I know as much as you guys know about what this is.
Well, you said benefits. What kind of benefits?
Well, and all my stuff
Yeah.
is not packed away. It's within arm's reach, so
Yeah.
I can keep a constant eye on it.
Oh, yeah,
I
definitely.
reach in and I pull out the dark coin.
Yeah.
And I say, this came to me after this appeared on my person after a dream I had. And whenever I flip it, something takes over when I go to fight an enemy. It gives me either enhanced effects, an enhanced ability, or it might hurt me. It's a bit of a randomness.
You mind if I see that coin?
Sure. And I hold it out.
Kane picks it up, and you can clearly see the difference of the anatomy with this these very long lizard claws as he picks it up. I'll have to keep an eye out, see if Eve wakes up with one of these and starts shooting off more magical lasers than normal. Could you imagine Eve more powerful? Maybe she could get her arms and legs back.
That would be something.
He holds it up to one of the few holes, natural light that comes through in this bathhouse. There's many areas like that where birds pile up like you continuously see in so many of these areas. There's a plentiful amount of nests and animals all around find this place to be a home inside the forest. It seems like a safer haven for animals of non-prey. The ones that are typically to be preyed on. This is more of a safe haven that they can utilize as natural as a man-made place could be. And there seems to be a comfort level between the animals that is calming on all of your persons. Well, here you go. Don't lose that. Make sure you kill people. The bad people with that.
Oh, there'll be plenty more of that.
Ugh.
I'm gonna stick my finger out and try to get a bird to come land on it.
All right, give me an animal handling check. Let me see. Let's do the low energy moonlight again. It's feeling a little low energy now, so I'm gonna do that.
Nice. 22.
22. An impressive roll as Mosno whistles out one of the beautiful robins up in one of the windowsills, sees that, and first Mosno gets its attention, but it sees Kane with his fucking paw right next to you, and it's like, ha, no, not doing this. And then Mosno looks around, he reaches over to his stuff where Ares is pretty like, and tell me if I'm wrong, Ares, but I imagine Ares would be folded very well, and it's like arms reach, all in a pile, ready to be grabbed and go in a second. Mosno's very
Relatively.
much...
Mine's a pile.
Yes, just dropped. As you lean over, and you're like, and you take out like a little bit of meat, and then you give another whistle, and then you see the bird eyeing it up, and Kane lowers himself a little bit into the water, and the bird comes over and starts picking on it.
Hello.
Time of peace you all are feeling right now. A breath of fresh air after what seemed to be an endless marathon of fighting, darkness, and struggle. And death. And death for many of you.
Yeah.
Well, I think we better convene with the others and figure out our next course of action.
Sure. Justin cut off. What happened? What happened?
Oh,
Huh?
hi. I'm
Everything.
alive.
He's just been
it's
quiet.
fine. Yeah, no, the boxes went off. Why? Got it.
Oh, there
Oh.
you go.
Oh,
Yeah,
that.
everything
Ah.
shifted.
That's all right.
There you go.
All right, so what are you doing? You're all going to go...
Well, I
Um,
was stating to Aaron.
Oh, you're just stating. Sure.
I think I'm just gonna linger, take maybe just a little bit of a nap here.
Right, you just got here. Well, enjoy. I'm gonna go figure out what's going on.
All right.
I think we should at least take a day or two before we head out.
Oh, that's fine. Just I want to get an idea of what we're looking at.
Yeah.
I'll give you guys plenty of time to help me get back, too, and see what the heck's going on back home. A couple days sounds good. You guys don't have to rush out of here. I could absolutely use the help.
What do you need help with?
Checking for survivors back home, and we got to track down one of those magic users to use that circle, because I don't think I can bang Eve's staff again to try and get it to work.
Yeah, that was probably a one-time thing.
I mean, I thought I was magical for a couple seconds.
You are magical.
You know, Eve used to say the same thing. She had a way with words.
Yes.
So much so that her words made things happen. As he like comes back to like literally change the fabric of reality.
Oh, those some powerful words.
Right on. All
I
right.
once yelled really loud, and it made a bunch of animals run away, so that's pretty powerful too.
I bet I could beat you in a loud yelling contest. I could yell louder than you.
Ares kind of leaning back with his eyes closed. Please not here.
Yeah, Aaron's probably right. Maybe outside sometime.
Yeah, people might think something's up.
Yeah.
Maybe not in this city here. This is quite a grand village if I've ever seen one. The biggest village ever.
Yeah.
And we had a pretty big village.
So we'll take a rain check on it.
All right. Yeah, back home in Strongclaw. That'll be an easy way to tell if there's still predators around.
There you go.
He gets up. He takes his like 3 pieces of clothing, which is like next to nothing, and he attaches it to himself, which is still strange because he like the clothing he has on. He has no visible genitalia, so it's not like it's covering up anything. So it's just his clothes.
All right. I'll get out too.
All right.
And I'll shake off like a dog.
Gets a laugh out of Kane. Harry slowly.
Yeah, I definitely was aiming to get a lot of water on Harry.
As Harry is slowly slipping.
I just kind of giggle, and I'm not really napping. I'm just kind of meditating.
Mm-hmm.
I'll put my clothes back on.
All right. You and Kane walk out just as Ulazal comes in. He's just like sweating a mess. He's just like, are you all leaving?
Oh, we're just leaving.
Oh.
I'm just kidding. Harry's still in the tub. You can join him.
Oh, thank God. He just walks back there, and he's doing all this proper folding, and you can feel the presence of Ulazal now with you, Harry, as he's getting stuff in here, and just like, oh, this sounds wonderful. He looks into the pool, and it looks like there's a ton of filth in here, thanks to everyone who's already been bathing. And he takes a gander, and then he tries to presto some of it around, and you can see as he starts to move the water around, a current you start to feel of a natural flow comes through. It seemed the time you were in here, about 30 minutes, there's this natural flow that pushes through all the pools, and it looks clean and normal. As Ulazal is in the middle of trying to do something about it and being like, well, that's different. Kane and Mosnell, you guys are out. What is Bellona and the girls talking about? What are you guys doing, gals?
I don't know if I'm doing much talking.
Yeah.
I think I probably would have just
sit in silence.
No. Well, a little, but not too much. Fold up the clothes nice and neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. And are there any trees or leaves around, or that would have been around on the way in?
Yeah, sure, definitely. There's trees out.
All right. Yeah, I'll just grab a leaf.
Sure.
And just sort of lay it on top of the bath water as I get in, and just sort of meditate and ponder on that for a little bit.
Okay.
Just sort of see what sort of vibes are coming off of the nature that's around me. I haven't really been accustomed to this area. Just trying to get a feel for the energy that might be coming out of it.
Give me a nature check.
Ooh. 18.
As you meditate with Belfina and Ralia in the same room, all three in touch with different parts of the world and the cosmos. Belfina very much in the same vein as your connection to the wild, the world, nature, and around you. You can feel those auras around them. As your face is like almost on par, like your eyes, you're just above where you can be breathing just fine, and sometimes you go below where your nose is just breathing and you're holding your mouth, and then you'll come up a little higher when it becomes too much of a burden during your meditations, where you're just sort of watching that leaf cross the very still water. You get a very dark aura from Ralia, a blackness that surrounds her as she and her crow, her raven, are looking at one another wordlessly, clearly engaged in some mental conversation back and forth. Digging deeper and seeing these connections between the two of them, the waters themselves start to form images in your mind as you get caught in that in-between when you meditate of zoning out and seeing your own thoughts and seeing whatever the world takes you to the reality of the world, and it starts to blend where the reflection off the water starts to project what you see in your mind's eye. The warm feeling all around you in the waters is enough to make you feel weightless during this meditation, and takes you to a place of comfort and peace. With the stillness of the water, you can feel the occasional like drip drops and the stirring of ripples every time someone moves, or water droplets come off an arm or a face of anybody that's gone under the water or is hanging out by it. And you feel that this land is not too different from the forest you've traveled. The rainforests are dramatically different in appearance and feeling, but when it comes down to nature at its core, it's still a terrain that speaks to you. It speaks to Bellona. She's able to see herself stepping through these different species of trees and the different way the leaves crinkle and the branches snap under her feet. She starts to envision how she would be tracking game inside these forests, and she sees animals she's not used to, like fox, that she doesn't have the words or the names for because she hasn't encountered these smaller varmint like she has inside the rainforests of Jalasia. And her concentration falls away when she runs into some of those bears that she was not familiar with back in Jalasia, and trying to really wrap her mind around these new creatures and then their friendliness, but their strength and power. It starts to take her away from focusing on the animals and the creatures and starts pulling her towards the fiends she was hunting in the rainforest, and starts taking her back to memories of such fiends she's fought. And some of the downpours come back to her in the rainforest in the darkness as she only gets glances of where these fiends are moving with strikes of lightning during heavy rainstorms, and seeing their horrid faces, these demonic looking creatures flashing in what would be tales for children's horror stories or realities Bellona was facing and bringing to the ground, bringing to the hunt. And she takes down the journeys of her most recent memories to the chimera inside that ruin. Excuse me. And that starts to really settle on her as she was chasing these fiends and these creatures deeper, but something of a bigger variety, something she wasn't familiar with in the terms of its power inside the dynamic of this biome and nature. Something was there deeper into those ruins, deeper into those lands before she was taken, before she knew better than to delve deeper alone. She pushed her luck far enough, and she still sees those shadows of movement, those long elongated bodies that she saw inside those ruins sit in her mind as the water washes over her and takes her back to reality as Belfina is taking her tin hat and dumping water on her, taking you back to reality as she's like kicking her feet back and forth, being like da 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 dee da dum as she's pouring water over herself.
I wish I could be so carefree.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. Having fun with your raven? Or is it a crow?
It is a raven.
Okay.
And I think her name's Murta. I don't have it off
Morta.
Morta. It's very, very on the nose about death. You see the raven look towards you. Our conversations are on a need-to-know basis.
I was just asking if you were having fun.
Fun. Always fun. When you're young, you have fun. When you're old, you have purpose. As it flops away, you see Ralia just smile, being like, old bag.
Alright. I don't see any reason why you can't have both.
I feel very much the same. There is artistry in our world. There's beauty all around us. In an invisible world that pulls us in every which way and direction.
Do you find beauty here?
Not as much as I would have thought. I would have hoped.
What were you hoping for?
I don't know. That's the fascinating part about it. Circumstances change so quickly. My family's back home. Who knows what has become of them after the revolution? I wasn't too close with them, though, so it doesn't break my heart not to hear from them. We didn't talk as much as we would have. Normal families would have. But beauty's in the eye of the beholder. What is beautiful about the battlefield, or the contrast to this glorification of nature? It's all fascinating, and I don't know where I stand on it.
I quite like it here.
I could see why many would. Bellona's like, I love it here!
Yep.
This place
Loki.
is great!
Loki, play it down, play it down. But yeah, it's a good energy here.
Certainly I can agree with that. You feel closer. So close to the gods that made the world, or the spirits of nature itself seems to embody around us.
Yeah.
I believe there might be a temple here. Might be worth checking out. I thought I saw it. I felt some more of those connections.
I'd be down for that.
What about you, Belfina? Are you the religious type? I haven't really thought about it. It's once again a blessing. A blessing.
Yes, a blessing. I suppose we're the cursed ones.
Oh, I would say so.
Responsibility!
A grin from her face, indeed.
Is it like a kind of an open room, or are there like walls?
There are definitely walls. Like, you guys are now, because you guys split, it's literally different sides. So Aerie and Ulazal are nowhere close to the girls right now.
Oh, okay.
And it's sort of like the idea of, I believe I described it like this last time, a warehouse, but it's all natural cut rocks and everything. And they're just like ponds, bigger and different pools, bigger and smaller, and most of them are natural looking. And trees, foliage all throughout, and stones cover, like stone walls keep the top on this place of the natural springs. It's basically like a cave that was carved into a massive one, though. A mine shaft of sorts.
Well, I'm about done here.
Me too, Bellona. Squeaky clean.
What?
This is my play it. Bellona has become an anime character to me. Belfina, not Bellona.
Okay,
Belfina.
I was like,
meant
what?
Belfina. I'm going again. You're both in the same room. Give me a break. I'm role playing two PCs that aren't here. I'm getting there. They get out. Aerie, you can have any conversations you want with Ulazal, or he'll happily sit in silence as he's exhausted.
I was just gonna kind of meditate, kind of make a soft prayer out to Timora, actually.
Sure.
Oh, the girl.
Your girl. Yeah.
Just because it's been a while.
Sure has.
The Timora booty call.
It's
Oh,
like
man.
a god.
Man, November's gonna be rough for Justin. Jesus. My God.
Yeah, just kind of just like a meditative thing.
Mm-hmm.
Thanking for her help during the fight, because I'm trying to keep track of it, but the last time I used my Timora's luck was at I think it was in the start of the war battle.
Yep.
So it was either in the first room with the Valkyrie or in the second room with the pool.
Okay.
Can't remember exactly which.
Yeah. I believe you used it during the Orla fight as well at some point.
Yeah. Yes. So just kind of a soft prayer, thanking her for her help, wondering if, as silly as it is to talk to a god and expect an answer, wondering if there's anything she might have figured out about what the hell all this is on me.
Give me a religion check. You can try a religion check here.
Let's. Ooh, 20.
Oh, you guys are all nice tonight. As you say this prayer out to Timora, you do feel a warmness twinkle throughout your insides. You can feel her gaze has heard your prayers, in a sense, as if that could be associated. It's that same feeling when you use Timora's luck, which is saying a prayer to yourself to help a situation go better as it falls awry, typically, is how you've used it in the past, and things slightly change for the better as her guidance fills you with that same twinkle and warmth. It hits you, and you feel that relief, and then it fades. But at the very least, you have a sensible feeling that she has not forgotten about her little stars, or you being one of them.
One of the few left.
That's for sure. Wilzal looks over to you. Do you have the gem, or do I have the gem?
Thought I gave it. I definitely do not have that. I just have the glowstone thingy
Which one's a glowstone?
that we got from the engineers to help identify the rock
The edge of the
with
earth?
the liquid in it. We asked them for something, and the who was it? Gilthor.
Yeah.
He built us a little compass that we could use to, if we held it next to a rock, it'll identify
Yes,
that
okay,
it's
thank you. Okay,
what we're
good.
looking for.
I was confusing it with the different item that Ulyrus had. That's why I was like,
Oh,
did you get that? And I couldn't remember because I remember a time where I was like, oh, I fucking know what that shit is. I'm like, anyway, you see, it was all, well, I was just meditating. Couldn't remember if I had it or not, so I must have it then. I'll check for it once we get out. My mind races. So much has happened, and we all need a moment of rest.
I agree with that.
Okay. Mosno, Bellona, Delphina, Ralia, Kane all meet up as they leave. There's no longer the dwarf or the tiefling inside these baths anymore. What would you, as the group reconvenes, while Ulazal and Ari will take a little extra time because they only just basically got there. The other ones have been here longer. They'll be there maybe another 20 minutes or so. What are you all doing as your little group? What do you want to talk about or anything you want to do?
You think we should go to our quarters and decide what our next plan is?
I think we should do that as a cohesive unit. Maybe give everybody that's still in the bath some time to rest up. There's still plenty of city to see, I think.
Sure is. That's a good point.
Bralia and I were talking about a temple that we wanted to visit. They're more than welcome to come along.
Why not? This is my country anyway. I should see more of this is the capital, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Something you were unaware of until
Yeah.
recently, because you lived a very limited
I
life.
should see the capital, get to know where I live.
You were born here, but you don't know anything about it.
Not in the city. I live in a pretty.
The surrounding area.
I lived in a pretty remote area, but
I know the feeling.
yes,
Small town living.
you know it. Yeah. Apparently, I didn't know I had a capital. Didn't know I had a king.
Oh,
All very interesting.
that is something. I mean,
We kind of kept to our own.
we did too, but Clovis is hard to miss.
Yes.
Pretty hard to miss.
Especially from where
Yeah.
you live, you literally can see because of how giant
Yeah,
it is.
it's right there.
It's a monument to the skies, nearly the size of Skoberheim, but not for the gods.
Yeah, I'm far enough away and close enough to mountains that I can avoid most things. Or at least I won't see most things unless I go out of my way.
There's beauty in that. Shall we?
So what's this? Yes, absolutely. So what is this temple?
Kane's like,
To see?
can I come? I don't know.
Kane, wherever I go, you can go too.
I was really worried because I don't know anything here, and it's very different. And I can't use that pad, so till that's solved, I really got nowhere to be. I'm not sure they'd let me back in with Eve. I could fight in. Don't think that's the best course of action. So I'm just gonna hang out. I'll be here.
Yes, I think Eve's in good hands. You can stick with us.
I hope. Well, I trust you, Mosmo. I trust you.
Hi, I'm Bologna.
Oh, nice to meet you. I am Kane. That's right. I haven't seen you or you. I did see you. Good to see you. As he pats the tink tink. Yes. What happened of your friends? Were they Flama, right? Right. That was the swordsman one. And then there was
Yes.
a bird that he didn't say much anyway. So actually, that's pretty fair.
Oh, yes. Yeah, he just kind of left.
Oh, that sounds exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Flama, I wasn't there. He fell in battle, escaping Clovis, defending others. From what I'm told, he went down heroically, and in a situation like that, that's almost all you can ask for.
Well, sure makes me feel like a coward for surviving. That's for sure. This Kane that goes to a very glazed over eye.
Oh no.
I put my hand on his shoulder. There's nothing to be ashamed of surviving. It just means you can do more good in the world.
I better.
And you can have your heroic death later.
That's good. That's true. There's always time for that.
I can always
Kane is nodding. He's like, I like this math.
There's always time for that.
So
All right. Well, Riley's like already walking. she has left this conversation. So you all go to the temple.
Yes.
During this temple, Ulazal, the conversation you guys are having, you're like shooting the shit for quite a while and chilling out. So Ulazal and Eri can have the choice to regroup and then join the whole group as one party at this point.
We get out of the baths
Yep.
and I turn to him and I say, you want to be interesting to see if we could learn a bit more about.
What?
I was thinking of trying to see if we could grab that black staff lady or one of her one of the Salem or one of them. See if we could track down that goat again.
You see Ulazal? He looks at you. He goes through his shit. He looks up at you. It's not here.
Oh, it's not here.
The gemstone. It's not here.
The sunstone?
Yes.
When was the last time we had it?
You see Ulazal in his typical panicky fashion, very similar to the first time he heard Orlith when you guys were in Phandlin. You're seeing very big, like he's just coming back to him again. He's like, you gave it back to me, and then I dropped it, and then you got it, and then you gave it back to me, and then we fell, and then I used but then I did have it there. I mean, hours ago I must have still had it. I just couldn't. I thought maybe I gave it to you. Maybe someone in the party has it. Maybe someone's pulling an old trick on Ulazal again.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I'm the only one that's gonna be able to pick a pocket like that.
You don't have to do that to me. You don't have to just dash my dreams like that, Harry.
I mean, we can still. It's in this area for sure. We have a time frame.
It has to be.
We could go back to that underground sanctuary where
they might have dropped it there. Maybe
we might have dropped it.
The tusks.
I mean, it's possible the goat stole it from you. It's done that in the past.
I don't want to hear this.
We can get it back. The goat likes me. We can get it back.
I am uncomfortable with this goat. I am very uncomfortable with it.
Let's go grab Salem. Let's have either him or oh shoot, I'm blanking on the name. Who's his associate?
Calgary.
Let's grab him or Calgary. Let's see if we can track down the goat. I'm sure it will make its presence known if we look for it.
I agree. Let's just go track down this goat. As you guys dress and leave, you guys don't catch the other group going towards the temple. As you guys approach the temple that Ralia sensed earlier during her meditations, that was during the time, remember, when all those ravens were by her and she was just in her own thoughts. She sees this place of stonework. It seems a little different, much lighter stone. Not limestone per se. There's a lot of stalagmites near it as well. The way it works, stalagmites is the wrong way. It's like a basalt. So it's very hexagon. It looks like, you know how those natural appearing. Yes. So that's what it looks like. It's all like that, and it's that look to it, but a little lighter gray. It's got the shine on it when you get closer to that. You're not sure if it's just the reflection of light making it look lighter or if it's actually like a deep lead black. But it has those natural forming octagon-like shapes or hexagon-like shapes folding around more trees and growth, like you guys can see in the image below me. That's very much, again, the stylistic of the area. And this one has a point to it, very much a pretty typical sign for religious churches or religious points of location. The door itself is just cloth over it, and there is no guards outside this place. It seems like one of the things that is overlooked that doesn't really need high security during the siege and all the things that are being tended to during it. You guys open up and walk into it, and there's that changing from the bright light to a much darker area. Pardon me, all lit by lanterns and candles inside here. And you can see, as you walk through, different deities carved into stone inside little sanctuaries. inside here, and it's round base, similar to Sister Geraldine. When you came in, there's the pews and there's that like half circle. This is more of a whole circle, and each area has its own section devoted to different deities inside here. What do you all do?
I'll look at some of the carved deities and see which ones I might recognize. See if I can see mine or anything that might remind me of mine, maybe.
You walk in, and Bellona, you start peering through in the dim lighting inside here, but anybody with dark vision is having no trouble really seeing around.
I ain't got it.
All right, then everyone's pretty blind right now. as they're looking inside here and getting pieces very much Game of Thrones basement, the Crypts of Winterfell feeling inside here, but it's not as uncomfortable. It's those hexagon shapes continue through the natural area, the bits of the walls that weren't carved into, and you can hear the clicking of steps behind you as you go to turn. Nothing's there, and then you turn back, and then you see this drow male in front of you with glazed over white eyes, and he has very, very white hair, very buzz cut short, large ears to him. You can see scarring and these big bright white teeth inside this dim lighting. Greetings.
Hi.
Welcome to the temple. I see we have visitors and guests.
Yeah, we're some of the adventurers that helped out in the war effort. Oh, well, minus the giant lizard guy. He just kind of showed up.
That's different.
Yeah, he's really big.
But I had visions this would happen.
Oh?
I knew you'd come.
Do you know my name?
No.
Oh, that's good. I say. I mean, sometimes visions are really accurate, and it's just kind of creepy.
It can be. It almost feels like the gods play with us at times.
Yeah.
Sort of unfair, their favored chosen over the common that get trampled over. But I saw you when praying to the god of nature. He walks down a little bit, and the crew follows over, and you see a statue. In the middle here, splitting everything to the sides, is this great wolf. You can see inside there the wolf that Mosnell has become very familiar with. It stands pridefully on a rock that you also saw in your vision, Mosnell, where it wasn't standing in your vision. I'll give you that much, so not to reveal whatever the vision is, but as it was up there pridefully, the drow turns to you, and he's not quite making eye contact with any of you. Like, every time he turns toward you, it's more or less he's always looking off, almost like drawing on information from different directions, like it's written among these walls around you, but you just can't see it. I prayed one night. I prayed another night. And I prayed and prayed to hear the spirit of the forest come back to us. You could feel his life abandon the lands as he was forced out from whatever evil guides the chaos of the kobolds, their war efforts and murderous rampages of the lands in between. Whatever those gods push along the world's destruction and chaos, normally the spirits around us find the ways to push and pry and care and take the world into a better place, all that is balanced in our world, as Tyr would describe or would love to preach so much about. But just as all was lost, he returned to us. I could feel him again. And I prayed until I could not stand anymore. And when I could not stand, I sat. And when I could not sit, I fell. And in my slumber, I saw you come and save our king. I knew someone would come. And here you are, saviors. On some divine path from God of nature, perhaps? Or more? You have a deity, you said. Speak up. Do you know its name? Do you know of the faith?
Do I?
You have very, wishy-washy, quite literally. You know something is been directing you through your experience with the force of the hunt and the will of the hunt, and that has led to your clerical powers, and through the very Native American philosophy of taking what's only needed, and what you do to nature gives back to you, and what you gain, you make sure never to take more than what's truly needed and give back to nature. That sort of reciprocal relationship has garnered where you've come and gone through the places you've explored, the fiends you've hunted, and the abilities you've learned. You don't have a connection like Ulazal boasts about with your deity, but there's a fogginess of familiarity that's potentially there.
Okay. We're not so much on a name basis. It's more of a feeling. I get visions, but it's very here and there, come and go, as the will of the hunt dictates.
The will of the hunt? That's familiar to me. It's familiar to me in my Google Doc that needs to fucking load.
What's a Google Doc? I'm not sure I've heard of that.
Something that came to me in a vision many years from now. Don't worry about it.
Your visions are quite accurate.
It's only what the gods bestow unto me that I, in turn, am able to see. There it is.
Gods are truly amazing.
They can be. And some of them vile and horrid. But your God, as he walks effortlessly, he picks up a bowl and fills it with water in little gorges that you didn't even notice were around. They're like these big circular, basically big bowls that are meant to be used for different rituals or whatever's inside here. He picks it up and he just throws it at this creature, the statue embodying a creature, as the water hits it and starts to trickle down over it. The candles that were once off in here glow blue, and you can now see it illuminate it. And Cain sees it as well, and he goes down to a knee, and some of you recognize this as the creature Orlith had in stone above Cain back in the day of his deity. You see the god of the hunt in front of you, Mugdis, and it is this creature of immense proportion, as it has this veracity to it. It seems like a mix between the lizard folk and the dinosaurs that you guys experienced. Its long snout and long veins, with this body that it resembles that of what the hunt is about. It's on like all four legs, and as it's peering over, you can see it's like going into that scream you would see out of a bear that you all would know, or other creatures when they're trying to tout being large. As the water trickles in through all the carvings inside this marble down into each area, the lights begin to fade as the glow falls into the symbol of Mugdis, and glows and then fades as well. You see a cute trick, something that runs essential to the god of the hunt is the flow of water. Water, some say, is our original birthplace. It's a way of washing away the past and forging new futures, cleans the land, gives life, and is essential to the hunt. You cannot survive without being able to drink from water, otherwise you die of thirst. You cannot continue your hunt if you are blinded by the rains of the skies. But the water comes as both a strength and an adversary, a friend and foe, just as the hunt is. Are you the prey or the hunted? Water determines if you can be strong enough to endure. And if you are, then maybe powers could be yours. Strength could be yours. The thrill of the hunt could be yours. Or so the philosophy says of those who follow the hunt.
Kind of checks out. Do you know his name? Or its name?
Kane stands up. Mugdis. Just call him God. But all right.
Do you...
You see him mouthing it. Mugdis. Mugdis. He's doing that in the darkness to himself. Dimly.
Well, I have a name now. That's good. Thank you.
You see the other deities around you. Wisdom in nature, Crutilla. You see an area for Crutilla. Beneath her, disciples of agate culture, Pelor. You see this beautiful tree in marble inside there. The tree of life symbol that gets tossed around in certain areas. Yeah, you see that is basically the representation of Pelor. One of the more complicated ones, as he turns across from Crutilla, the god of the storm, insisted by those same who did not come, and possibly the path you are set out to take. In here lies the mysteries of the storm. You just see a single lightning bolt etched into marble inside this area, shrouded in mystery and prediction, hidden away in the clouds and in the storms. The god of the storm cares not for those of mortal problems. There is only the storm, and whoever brings on its change. Moves over to Tyr, Corlin, as he moves down here. Justice, Morphus, kindness. You see depictions of the scales for Tyr, the blind and the sword, this individual statue that is draped in robes and a very humanoid look with this long sword, but blind over his head, representing that justice is blind. It does not care who you are. Justice finds everyone. Tymora. In that section, you see Tymora, a much smaller statue than what you saw in Phandlin, but inside there you can see the growth all over the statue and owls in her hands. There's an active owl nesting in her hand. You can just see this inside there, and you see the caretaker of the temple reach up and go and give this rat in his pocket, this little mouse is like moving and squirming, and just give it right up to the thing. It's like in swift motion. He pulls his trembling and very wrinkled hand back down. The gods play their games and represent the world we live in, give powers to those of faith. It's a fascinating world. What brings you here? Curiosity? Divine intervention? Who knows? But I thank you for sharing your presence today. Some of you may have prayers of your own to say. If you ever feel the need, the temple is always welcome for whatever deity you may worship. Even those that might not be as welcome in these parts, there is always a spot for some deities in here that don't represent the evils of all worlds. And he gives his eye to Ralia as she lifts her eyebrow, and then he motions towards an area she walks over as this large raven statue is inside there with all sorts of ravens all throughout. And you can just see their eyes giving this little glow of shine as Ralia comes over and Morta on her shoulder. She's like, as that's there. Do you have any questions of me?
What's your name?
My name is Adhere. I adhere to the stories of the old and the new, and I bring what faiths and stories they share with me to those of interest or on divine and divined paths.
Thank you.
Thank you. Actually, I have much more to show you if interested. Would you like to hear the tale of your king? How she became what she is?
Yes. Absolutely.
If you have no prayers to say, you can follow me into another room. As he walks off into another section, he gives you time to either converse with yourself, say prayers, or follow him into the next room.
I'm not gonna say any prayers. I just want to walk over to the statue and just kind of touch it. You know.
As you touch it, it feels like marble. Yeah, it's marble. You see the water still, like, that drenched it. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
On its surface. Excuse me. Oh my God! Stop it, Reed.
Yeah, Reed, stop it.
But that moisture reminds you of the rainforest that you were so used to traveling through, and that warmth gives you that feeling of. It's that coldness of comfort where you're. It's not so much coldness because the rainforest is warm, but like you know when you're really wet, when it's hot out, and you're just that feeling of when you're always wet. Most people find discomfort in that. Bellona doesn't have that feeling because it's a guide of sorts on her path.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna watch Bellona do that
Yep.
and just be like, I'm gonna go over and look at the wolf statue, and then put my hand on it.
Looking at the wolf statue, it towers over you, and you, as you put your hand on it, give me a religion check.
Oh shit!
My only weakness.
It's not very high. Yep. 17.
It is high.
Natural 17 plus 0.
As you touch the stone, it comes to life. The stone turns towards you. It's good to see you, my son.
Hello.
Masnel, you saved my daughter. The North lives another day. His ethereal glow starts surrounding this brightness around the stone, very familiar from that night you first were drawn over to the brightness is there. You can feel the breeze, even though there shouldn't be breeze inside here. You can feel like wind at your back at this moment. You have this smell, this fresh smell of like grass after rain, and that life that comes to nature once it is rejoicing after a fresh rainfall.
Oh, I just couldn't leave the north or the king to her demise. She's pretty awesome. I wouldn't want her to get hurt or killed.
She has what's best for the North in mind, and I hope you do as well, Mosno. There are confusing times ahead, but know the Force will always be at your back and guide you through those long nights, as long as you stay true to who you are.
I will.
As you say, I will, it's already returned to stone as he finished his sentence. Everybody else just saw Mosno just holding this statue like normal for a bit with his hand on it, not unmoving, and then finally going, I will, as he takes his hand off.
You, talking to yourself over there, bud?
What? I was talking to the wolf. Didn't you see it?
I saw you touching the statue, and then you just said I will out of nowhere.
That's true. I saw it.
The wolf
Pretty
came alive,
weird.
started talking to me.
Nope, I would have punched it. That's a no.
That is, yeah, nope, crazy talk.
Whatever.
Alright. As you all walk into this area, we'll go and flip it over to Ari and Ulzal.
So we make our way to Salem.
All right, you guys start asking around, trying to figure out where they're at. The Black Staff has her own quarters that's been set up for her, where very important people go. And the guards are outside, and you can see the area because they stick out like a sore thumb with the Waterdeep colors. Do you guys recall what the Waterdeep colors are? Because I think I remember them, but I'm curious if you'll contradict me.
Were they like blue and gold?
Were they blue and gold? I thought they were silver.
I don't remember.
Because
I think gold is involved.
Gold. There might have been gold and purple. Purple's coming to me. All right. Well, we'll say it's gold and purple for right now. If I can see if there's actually a different color.
That's
sure.
that's some classic
Blue
royalty.
is
They're
gold.
different. They're different from everyone else.
They are. And
Yes.
blue is. I made a point to make sure that like cobalt wolves were blue.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But I believe it might have been purple and gold. Red and gold is the Order of the Gauntlet. The Selesnya green and white is very much the North. Regardless, you see those plate mail of those soldiers, and as you approach, you begin to inquire about Salem and Calgary, and behind you can see Salem and Calgary coming up with some rations and food in their hands, some apples and fresh picked fruits in a little crate that's been given to them to hand out to everybody. It seems like meats are far and few between, and you guys even looking around get the sense of what a focus on resources is being made right now, because now they've gotten deeper into divvying up the piles that were out there, and it's wartime. There is not a lot of stuff to come by here, and you see a lot of hungry soldiers, you see a lot of malnourished soldiers outside. You're finding this place to be eye-opening, because you and Ulzal have not known war in your lives. You've known a time of, for you in particular, Ari, of trying to deal with the underworld, and Ulzal has dealt with studies as basically a professor, doing what is needed to try and learn more about the world. As they approach behind you, Calgary and Salem, oh, greetings! It's good to see you all. What can we do you for? As they're handing over the supplies to the guards, as some of them walk in, presumably to give them to the Black Staff, others handing it out amongst themselves, some staying guard.
So, we've had a couple of run-ins with an interesting curiosity, and we were wondering if it'd be something the Black Staff would want to investigate. But I figure we have a better chance getting an audience with you two. We were gonna go take a look to see if we could track down this thing that we've popped in and we've run into a couple times. We're wondering if it's pilfered an item from us.
Sure, I can help you with that. Calgary, you can stay here. See Calgary nod, much preferring to. Sure. All right. I'll I'll be happy to. Blackstaff seems to be more than happy at this point, and yeah, basically, I was supposed to do stuff, but yet I'm here, so here we are.
Well, you can come spend some time with us. We're going on a bit of an adventure outside the wall.
Sure, sounds good to me. All right, Salem joins your party.
I'm going to lead him alongside with Ulazal.
Yeah.
Back to that underground sanctuary.
Mm-hmm.
Ulazal probably knows better because he went back to get the terror.
Yes.
So we make our way over that direction.
As you guys make your way over, Ulazal's knowledge helps a lot. There's a ton of rubble, but you guys, I'd say, are all three capable, so you don't need to make rolls for this type of stuff because you have an unlimited amount of time. So you take a better part of an hour and a half to start moving rubble out. The Tarask really made a number of this escape tunnel from the previous King of the North into this area, and eventually make your ways back into what was turned into a very large storage chamber. Many of the other sheep and cattle are still back there. At this point, the cage is open, the door knocked down. It's got like about an 8-foot thickness to the door itself, like the way the cage was. It's like one of those things for a bull where you pull up, but it was like a solid like adamantium cage, and that thing is on the ground now. It opened up after the Tarask was let out. There's the stables area, and basically a very mud texture to this this cavern you're in.
So the last time we saw it was over by the campfire, right, Ulazal?
I believe so. He was with all the... Well, first we were at the campfire, and then we saw the stupid horns of that terrible, vile creature by the sheep back there, and then I believe you got evil, devil-ridden potions that I refused, and still refuse, and I had about enough of it with that horrible creature.
He also saw it when they were doing the Tarask thing. It helped him out, remember?
Oh, he did. You're right.
It helped him open the gate.
He's purposely avoiding that. He doesn't want to admit help. You see, devil horns. What kind of creature are we going after?
We've had a couple of run-ins with this very weird fiendish goat.
Oh, Christ.
No idea what it is. Our friend, the tracker.
Wait. The same one we saw at the mountain.
Oh yeah, we did see it at the mountain.
That thing's here?
It seems to be able to move quite a bit of distance very rapidly. And it is definitely very fiendish in nature.
That's troublesome, and certainly concerns me.
But it doesn't seem to be hostile. Last time we ran into it, you know how it says "Hail the darkness"?
Yep, that's a tough line to forget.
When I repeated it to it a few times, it got very, very excited, and then just produced fairly moderately strong healing potions out of the demon circles, technically. But they helped during the battle quite a bit.
Well, that doesn't sound devilish. I had my suspicions. Normally a contract has to be signed for something like that.
Yeah, it's definitely fiendish in nature. Ulazal confirmed that.
You see Ulazal just like wringing his shirt. Oh, fiendish.
But our tracker friend is very good at reading creatures.
Yes.
And according to her, it can't be killed?
Anything can be killed. Come on.
I mean, like, nothing affects it. No spells, no weapons, nothing does anything to it at all.
You see him all of a sudden, though, at this, like, his head takes a total turn. That would be incredibly useful.
But you can't really control it. It just kind of does its own thing.
Oh, I meant the property. That's so fascinating.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Which is why I figured you and the Blackstaff might be interested in inspecting it, seeing what you can glean from it. It's fairly docile, other than attempting to steal stuff from you.
All
So
right.
be wary of that.
Okay. Shall we search for it then in this area?
I mean, last time we saw it was here, so I mean, we can take a look. I'm gonna kind of make my way to just like an open kind of area.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna yell out, "Hail the darkness!" Just hail the darkness.
All right. You yell that out. They made investigation checks. As you yell out, "Hail the darkness!" you hear a muffled, "Hail the darkness!" from exactly where Salem is looking around right now, and he's like, "What the hell was that?" And as you look, you see currently the ram is taking something from Salem.
Salem, it's stealing.
Hey! You see it. You see, as
I
you
make
start
my way
battling it,
over there.
Strength check. Salem's able to rip it free. You see the just standing there. How? That thing is massive. How did that sneak up on me?
Yeah, you're telling us when we teleported hundreds of miles and it just appeared within a day. So, yeah, it's something.
That is something. And you see the item he had out in his hand that was being taken from him was his black box. And you see,
Oh, jeez.
you see his black box in his hands, and all of a sudden you see him. I knew you were alive! And the conversation from the Waterdeep crew have now just contacted Salem. I'm on a mission right now. I haven't. Well, and that whole conversation happens. I'm not gonna fuck it up. So that one happens with all of you, and you see him.
What just happened?
I just received a message from the Waterdeep crew. They're alive. You remember the individuals at the mountain that fought alongside us, helped free you?
Oh, yeah.
I've been trying to reach them for ages, and then you see his black box is glowing, and he clicks it. And the messages recorded by the Waterdeep crew come through. I believe it was Tyrion and Tellius, or both Tyrion? Tyrion sent
Mostly
two messages?
Tyrion.
Mostly Tyrion.
So both Tyrion's messages play, so both Ulazal and Aerie and Salem learn what they're doing and what happened to them. Those messages at that time about Penk, about a strange creature following them, them going to a strange...
an abandoned castle.
Yes.
It was very, very summarizing what Tyrion mentioned.
They all summarize it well. I'm pretty sure you didn't leave another black box message after the conclusion, though. The message is what you did. I'm pretty sure there was two.
Correct.
And they were leading into, but never... Like, once you got into the area with Thardarzan, that was it. Like, you didn't get any more black box messages. So they have prior knowledge before everything that went in.
Okay.
And that's where Salem was.
Oh, so now we know where Eve is as well.
Yes.
As players.
Yep.
Just kind of looking surprised, and then I'm like, oh, wait a second. And I turned to the ram, realizing we had another objective.
The ram is standing right there. Hail the darkness.
Mr. Ram, you didn't happen to steal the bright gem from this fine fellow, did you?
It's big old yellow eyes, just looking all around in all directions. You see Salem inspecting this, seeing all the devil script like engraved on its horns and its skin cracked in reds and stuff underneath the fur. He's like touching it and totally unaffected. Like he tests the waters at first, and he's like looking deeper. He's like, "Oh my god!" You see the ram just looking around. Hail the darkness.
Should I try to get Ulazal? We might get more stuff.
You see Ulazal? Absolutely not. This vile creature, as Ulazal starts coming up, and he's got like one of his symbols of tear as he's getting close to it, and the thing's not even moving. It's not even like shying away from it as he's hoping it would. He's like, as an individual would hold a cross up to like a vampire as he gets closer and closer. He starts looking at it, and Ulazal starts feeling up the goat, trying to make an investigation check.
Is it carrying anything where it can store things that it steals?
Make an investigation check.
That is an excellent question.
That's a great question.
A 10.
A 10.
Oh boy.
As Ulazal starts looking around and you start to do the same, and everyone starts inspecting this ram that's just sitting there at this, well, yeah, it's plops its butt down now, and it's just sitting there as you all are inspecting it. And as you start combing through it, Ulazal starts opening up the teeth, and you see these, they're not jagged at all. They're just rounded, normal ram teeth.
Standard herbivore ram's teeth.
Yeah, he's looking through there. He's like hiding it in here. And then finally, with your 10, you're just like, where do you store the things you steal? And you just see, hail the darkness. And all of a sudden, a bunch of those alchemy circles you saw last time start appearing around him. And you just see all this, like, you all back off from the alchemy circles, and you just see tons of fucking glimmery shit just pouring into these circles.
It sounds like a pocket dimension.
And tons of shit. Like, there's armors and gemstones and people and animals and creatures. There's just everything. Potions. All these things you can see individually like, help! As they're going through. As it's just like this waterfall of just... If you think of like a simulation and like, you know how people do particle simulations, just blast it in a rendering program? Yeah. It's just falling through all these circles right now. Tons of things. And then they all stop and you see Ulazal. You see Siam like, yo.
Well, that explains that.
That was awesome, Ulazal. That was
everything just
awful.
Is everything just on the ground right now?
No, it all was like a flow, like into the alchemy circles above
like
and below.
Portal.
So it was like, yeah, exactly a portal from the game, just like basically, but it was continuous, where they weren't falling like this. It was just like an endless stream.
What did the sunstone look like again? I turned to Ulazal.
I think I even sent a picture of it. It's basically, it looks like there's the sun behind clouds inside of it. It's yellow and it's like perfectly smooth.
Okay.
It's opal shaped, elongated.
Mr. Darkness.
Hail the darkness.
There's a tablet. What color was the sun?
Yellow.
Was it orange?
Oh,
yellow,
it was yellow gold. Golden sun.
My friend here had an orange and gold tablet with a circle, some spikiness around it, almost like the big sun in the sky. You didn't happen to take that from him, did you?
Hail the darkness. Nods its head.
I'm going to pull out. I'm going to hold up a uncut ruby that I pilfered. I've 2 uncut rubies that I pilfered from Strongclaw.
Yep.
I'm gonna say, I would like to trade you these 2 for that 1 gem back.
You see, it's like crazy eyes. He turns one of his heads, and one of the crazy eyes is looking at the gem right now. He looks at him, and you see Hail of Darkness, and one of those portals open up on the ground. They're very red alchemy circles, and they're exactly like anime alchemy circles portray those things, and like continuously moving and glowing. Bayonetta does it very similar in that way. But that's the imagery of it. You place the uncut. What was it? Fine cut or uncut?
It was two uncut rubies that were just lying on the ground.
Yes,
in strong
you put those on there, and you can see it starts rising off the ground a little bit, and you see him look and goes, "Hail the darkness." You get the sense that we need a little more here. You do know Ralia had a bucket full of emeralds. That is there, and any other tools and valuables you guys might have.
I toss my remaining 4 because I had 6.
6. All right, that's a lot. Did Ulazal have any? I don't know if he did.
I don't know.
Ulazal wouldn't participate in this devil magic.
He would be like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yep. He is very unapproving of this right now. Sounds like, don't stop. This is terrific. Whatever you're doing, I'm learning a lot, and that's very valuable. Hail the darkness. Hail the darkness. Hail the darkness. Hail the darkness.
Be careful if you say it too many times. He gets very jumpy and he might summon things.
Like one of his crazy eyes, the one that's looking at the pile right now, and the other one's looking at Salem. You see him? All right. He starts backing off as the crazy eye it's like bouncing around, sort of like those things where it's like at the bottom and jiggles. But as he starts saying "Hail the darkness," it whipped up at him, and it was looking at him. You see, you put the other on there, so it's 8 total now.
6 total.
6 total.
6 uncut rubies from Strongclaw.
You see, look at that. Hail the darkness. Gives you a little turn of the horn.
Hail the darkness.
It zooms out, and you see the sun gemstone appearing floating in between 2 of these circles.
I just kind of put my hand out, letting him pass it to me.
He just unmoving. It's just floating.
I go to reach it and try to grab it.
When you grab it, you feel an interesting force of gravity in here. It's just an interesting sensation, sort of like magnets when they are the force you feel when they repel. It seems like something's keeping it suspended. As you snag it out, they disappear. You have it in your hand, and he goes, "Hail the darkness!" And he gets up and he starts trying to take it from your hand. Make a strength check.
Oh my god.
What's your strength?
Oh, this is gonna be bad. Oh no, 11.
He rolled an 11, but he has a modifier, so that is a 14. So he takes it right back from you. You see, no, dear God, dear Tyr, no! As you see it, he's like, "Hail the darkness!" and he starts trying to fuck off.
Hail the darkness!
Hail the darkness as he's going. It's an even trade. As you notice, you had a straight trade, and then it was free game again.
I gotta chase after him.
All right, you guys are chasing after the ram. Go ahead and make. He's not that fast. And
I'm fucking fast.
Yeah, you're already in front of him as he has it in his face, and you see him be like, trying to dodge. You can have dexterity checks with advantage because Ulazal's has his glowy power. He's like, "I swear to Tyr," as he's glowing stuff, and Salem's like, he's like, "Oh, that's from Orlith. We need that. That should be ours." As he's in there trying to intervene.
You said just dexterity check?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dex off.
That'll be a different outcome. 18.
Another 11. Plus his dex modifier 14. Plus 3, 14. You snag it from his mouth.
Plus 14.
I'm gonna snag it. I'm gonna back away and keep it behind me so he doesn't have a good reach at it.
He seems like fair enough. Fair enough.
All right.
He's like, "Hail the darkness."
I'm going to kind of keep facing it, but back away, hand the sun gem back to Ulazal, and try to keep myself between the ram and Ulazal.
Yep. You see Ulazal behind, just being like, "Oh, I hate that thing. I hate that thing." And you can see the ram. The ram definitely has this look as he turns its eye, and it starts to furrow a little over the giant googly, like, this isn't over.
Oh my god. So yes, this is our good friend Salem. I feel like Blackstaff would have an interesting time inspecting this guy.
Most certainly. I think I will have to suggest to the Blackstaff that we bring her down here. Take a look at this individual. I think it is of the utmost. Son of a bitch! And you see he's taking something else from him. And it's like, God damn it! No! I'm
gonna go help him.
Two of you rip free more of his valuables. And you see him just like, oh my god. This one you see a strange circular contraption.
Yeah, it's a bit of a noose.
Sure is. But he keeps things interesting. So that's the good news. You see Ulzal keeps things unholy.
Let's see. Well, Ulazal, you should probably get out of here. Keep that stone very far away from it.
Yes. I think I will. You gave it to Ulzal? I didn't hear you there for a
Yeah.
second. Okay.
I handed it back.
Okay, I thought I did hear that, but I was okay. Cool. He takes the stone. Who has the sack? Doesn't Ulzal have it?
I believe so.
Think so.
I don't remember if he was opposed to putting it in there.
I don't know.
I don't remember. I'll say he is for right now, despite.
Guess we'll have to ask him.
Yeah. So he slowly walks around the ram and then sprints off down the hallway. You see Salem. Right then.
I mean, now that Ulazal's gone, if you really want to see if something interesting happens, you can say it as much as.
All right. Hail the darkness.
It was mostly to make him not freak out.
That's a good call. I feel like that might have had consequences for me. Hail the darkness. 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 Just got really excited. Nothing really happened this time. You could feel like a little shift and everything. You see Salem. It's getting a little weird. I gotta be honest with you, Ari. You're an interesting guy. And I met a lot of interesting people. But this is top in the charts of my experiences in the weird zone.
Yep. Tattoos and demon goats.
Yeah.
Never a dull day with us.
Nope. Never a dull day in my life since I joined the Grey Hand, that's for sure. All right. Let's head back. I'm going to go tell the Black Staff about this and maybe something of substance. Yeah. All right.
We'll have to see if he stays here. He usually sticks around until we find him in a new place, but you never know how weird it moves. And we'll walk away, keeping our eye on it so it doesn't steal anything more from us.
Well, as you were talking to him and you guys turned around being like, he sticks around, he's gone. There's nothing there. Just disappeared, and you're like,
how?
What? Is he Batman? No, I'm joking about that. Anyway, as you guys start to leave, though, you see coins fall from the ceiling. Just a couple like gold pieces fall down from the ceiling, and you look up, and you can see the goat walking upside down on the ceiling right now. He's got a big old bag of coins in his mouth, and you see him going across the top as coins are coming down. And then you see him like a portal open up, and he just into the portal. Another one of his alchemy circles. See how he picks up the 2 gold pieces.
Coin.
What's that?
That's not your coin bag, is it?
He looked at the. No.
Okay.
No, it's not.
I pat mine.
No.
Okay.
Salem has pocketed the 2 gold pieces, and you guys leave. All right, back to the other crew. You guys have now entered the other area. It's lit a lot lighter in here. It seems to have these where there would be like torch holders and some lantern places are very much, think the Skyrim clairvoyance, that bright white light, but it's in a way that has like a damper on it, so it's not harsh light. It's the soft light, but they're very clear white. It's almost like LEDs in a sense of the color of them. You walk into this room and think very much like the Elder Scrolls Skyrim inside the Wall of Alden. You see how that was all carved into a wall like this? There's very much a carved wall of a story in front of all of you inside here, with multiple round tables and upper sections to this. And here, Brine is sitting near the far left end of the wall, smiling to himself, just in his own little world with his glazed over eyes. They literally look like they have a film of white over his eyes. When you guys come up to him, he doesn't turn his head towards you all directly. You end up, he just addresses you by name. Wonderful. Wonderful to see you all here still. Sometimes people are a little put off by the gods, and they travel elswards after I give them time to settle their thoughts. So, you come here with interest of the story of Brine Chaluja. Did I say it right? Yeah, I did. Okay.
Yes.
That is correct.
Good. It's a story she does not quite enjoy. She feels as we embellish her too much and tell tales exaggerated. But if anything, what we learned are only underestimates. If there are 7 deadly sins in the world, Brine most certainly lacks the sin of pride, almost to a detriment. But we will start here on our wall, and how our king changed our world forever. Here, you can see familiar faces. Corlin, creating life and seeking justice throughout the universe. With the other gods beside him, they breathed life into our universe. And with that, eternal conflict always arises. The Queen of Darkness, the leader of those of many legs, drew up conflict with Corlin, and the two fought. Corlin and Lolith clashed on the astral planes. His hands, he feels over each of the carvings and the markings on this wall. You see such intricate designs and interpretations, slightly different than all the other interpretations of Corlin and Lolith that you've seen. It seems to be a common factor that everyone has their own idea of what God, looks like. And so they all have different, twists on how they think their God looks like. But there's typically some similar notes depending on which, and characteristics depending on which God we're talking about. Needing strength to combat Corlin, the elves danced with him into the realms loved by the elves, a place that they are born and believe themselves truly from. And Lolith was once with them, but she sought to be of the highest of the gods' powers. She sought the covens of being an equal of Corlin, which did not sit well with him. Their fight led to the banishment of all those that backed Lolith's cause, for she had differing ideas of the universe, of the elves, of creation. Banished by Corlin in a terrible fight, her elves and hers were sent to the Underdark. As he continues moving down, the light follows above from the lantern. It slowly travels as he puts his hand up towards basically a lever, but he's pulling it along the wall as the light travels with the lever along the top, illuminating it as you go. Casting these very top-heavy shadows, and they're very long when they cut across at the angle of this wall because it's a circular wall. And so you have those long shadows on your characters, on your persons. In the Underdark, the Drow were born. Those once elves of that magical plane that only Corlin allows the purest of elfish kind to dance with, was no longer theirs to exist in. Instead, servitude became their order. The darkness and the corruption of the Underdark twisted the Drow race into what it is today. Beneath the waves of the world and the crust of the earth, the Drow made great cities Time went on and millennia went, and the Drow stayed in service to Lolth, each a house driven by a matriarch. And you can see the first matriarchs of Lolth under a look of this spider queen. She seems to have an elvish body, but this big arachnid back to her. Feeling lost, Lolith prayed that someone would help. But no gods or goddesses would help her in the Underdark. There her form was corrupted into what we now know as the Spider Queen. She rallied the weak and dominated all those who dared to try and take charge, and organized what is one of the great Drow empires. This goes on for time and time until the birth of Brine. Young, curious, questioning. You can see a very, very childlike Brine. At first from baby to like this little stout-looking little Brine. Houses were are a sign of status. Double-crossing, murderers, seeking power, is that the way of the Drow? Trying to please the matriarch and offer up whatever strength they can to Lolth. Brine's family was acquired when her house fell. A much more powerful house dominated her and put them into servitude. Brine, serving better than the other slaves Drow would steal from the surface, she questioned why this had to be, the point of it all, from such a young age, losing what would ground her. Her parents taken to other houses, and friends and family being a thing of privilege for those of higher status and strength, those not to be poisoned. For some time, she was a servant of that house, testing any drinks for her own life to be sacrificed for that of the house. But as the years went on, the cruelty towards the slaves and towards the weak broke Brine in a way. You can see Brine like around a whole group of individuals that were they look deathly, they are weak and they can't do their job, and you can see a bunch of Drow guards with whips just whacking at these people that are unmoving, and even hitting at Brine for stopping their work for what they're doing. Very much mine-ish as works are displayed inside this mural. It is said that she had a light inside her, born different from most of the Drow. Some think she was an answer from Corlin, or a pity taken unto the people. What little humanity left inside the Drow from the elves, or whatever elf-manity was left inside the Drows, might have accidentally manifested itself inside Brine. She rallied houses. She rallied the weak, and there were more slaves than there were people, a sign of strength that even the most clever of houses tried to use to their advantage. But it didn't work the way they wanted. To try and mitigate such revolution, they allowed Brine to have her own house and her own freedom, introducing her into their ranks, allowing her to adorn her own sigil. In the darkness, in the Underdark, certain lights started to find Brine's shine. This is when Brine was able to do quite the unthinkable. She dared challenge Lolth. She dared challenge the priests. Each of their mystics cast down and eventually decided that if she was so certain on tearing down their faith, their religion, and their ways, she might as well try to do it against the goddess herself. Trapping Brine, they sent her to her dimension in the Underdark, the pocket dimension in which Lilith exists, and there Brine suffered tortures for years and years to come. Back home, the slavery came back, her house disbanded, and nothing was thought of it until she returned. What we learned was Brine endured. Some creatures took pity in an endless stalemate that began between Brine and the Spider Queen. Nearing corruption for her own thoughts and falling into the abysses, internal clock that manifests into one's very being for just living inside such an existence. Lilith granted the freedom Brine wanted so desperately for her and whoever may follow her. But the Spider Queen is one of scorn, and with that gave her a gift and a way to throw those who dared interfere with her divine plans at revenge against Corlin a wrench into the nuisance that they had become keeping Brine alive. By giving her eternal life, Brine would be doomed to a frozen and endless existence of servitude to those people that she so desperately wanted to free from Lilith's grasp. Pushing down the mural, returning in utter shock, the mystics allowed Brine her banishment as they conferred with Lilith in their prayers and in their rituals. Brine gathered who would follow her, many too scared to try, and they escaped the Underdark. For what seemed like an eternity, they wandered the darkness. Many died, many were worried and scared, and all questioned their faith, even Brine. But when it was truly darkness, the dawn came, and she led all of the people to the surface. For the first time in the existence of the Drow, they saw the surface at day, hurting their skin and feeling quite a weakness. Brown found that it did not plague her, and it was her burden to see those suffering around her that she tried to lead to freedom, injured, exhausted, faithless. And she took them across the maw of the world and settled into the mountains of the grasping hands. Here, the Drow grew. They were able to heal, and the guidance of the forest took them over the world and through the seeds and guided them to their new home inside the mountains. And years passed. Brine saw her loved ones, those she admired, and her family that followed her, grow old and die, and new generations grow and have children, and the cycle repeated, a burden that hurt her deeply. But this was something happy to trade for the freedom she never got to see, laughter, the ability to choose, those who wandered outside of the Drow, of their mountain, to start new lives and start new things. They all looked to her for leadership. That was until conflict found their way into the mountains. Inside the grasping mountains, a war was drawing near. A once long-reigning king of the north, a frost giant. His fury came down amongst all of those inside Freya. I gotta say it phonetically so I don't fuck it up. Uthaniel rained down the frosts of eternal winter onto the north until servitude was demanded, hoarding resources for an eternal night and an eternal winter he brought. It pushed Brine to the point of resolution. She knew that she could no longer keep her people safe, and taking up with the customs she learned in the north, challenged the frost giant for the title of King of the North. In combat, the two fought, and Brine proved victorious. From there, her benevolence ruled over the kingdom in such a way that she wanted people to truly be free, and no one had to answer to any king. But people clamored for organization in some areas. People needed guidance and leadership, and for those who were seeking it, Brine took the mantle of King of the North, while others faded into the blissful ignorance of the world. Many do not know they have a king in the north. This Brine considers one of her greatest accomplishments, that people can live in a world without having to worry about the politics of individuals' greed, pride, and so forth. And that is how she became King of the North. And you can see there's still work being done on the wall. And you can see bits of the Kobold Alliance being worked into the wall right now. The border disputes and what led to it. So there's your bedtime story.
Yeah, that was quite the tale.
All right. You guys want to take a break? You good?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Cool.
Sure.
Yes.
Here we are. Welcome back. All right. Ed here has just told you the story of Brine. He seems very content with himself. You guys can say whatever you want or do whatever you want.
She's
I
quite
didn't-
remarkable.
Yeah, I didn't realize her resume was so vast.
It is quite astonishing what one lifetime could accomplish.
Do the records or the stories, or do you know when she was granted immortality? Like, how old is she?
I believe our records indicate her somewhere nearing the age of 3,000 years old.
Oh,
Somewhere near there, in that ballpark.
that's a respectable, nice, normal living age for an elf. Totally, yeah.
Yep. It's
Well,
quite
she
exceptional.
ages beautifully.
Yeah.
She gets that a lot. But Brine always wears a smile. But she doesn't bring that burden of... She doesn't hide behind her smile. It's truly there. No matter what pain and no matter what trial she goes through, being able to see others succeed to her sacrifices is a valued existence. Now, that's not to say she can't be killed. She just doesn't no longer ages as a curse. That would be far too much of a blessing to bestow upon her, and more in the realms of the Raven Queen's dominion over death.
What is, if you don't mind me asking, what's the typical lifespan of a drow? Just for comparison's sake.
If they're lucky, depending on how healthy they can be, Drows can live into their 400s if they're very smart with how they live their lives. Many don't live long, so longevity wasn't passed down due to so much of the constant battling for power in the Underdark. As well as being cast away by Corlin and dominated by Loth, they have much shorter lives than High Elves typically do. Brine eclipsing them by nearly 10 times the amount a normal one lives. It's remarkable to many, and many wish, they had what they consider a blessing from Loth, which many scholars, like myself, can see why she did what she did. She makes herself, he bolsters her powers to show that she can give ageless life. It makes many want to follow the path of the spider to maybe find this fountain of youth for themselves.
Makes sense. Crafty.
Certainly. If you have any more questions about any of the arcane or the religious deities, I am always here, and I will be for some time, but not always, indefinitely. I have seen my death, and it will come. And then there will be another, and they could probably answer your questions as well, and this beautiful cycle continues.
You seem content with that.
Very much so. When one finds their place in this cycle of life, you find an unshakable foundation to build each and every day.
That sounds a lot easier to say when you live for hundreds of years.
Certainly. But the most remarkable lives can be those of shorter lifespans. Halflings, humans are all on their own paths and journeys. And some of them can find that foundation through faith, through a lack of faith, through passions, journeys, missions, divine intervention. It's out there if you so seek it. It's something that can be acquired and is not for the privileged.
If I may,
Yes?
I would like to ask about the giant wolf, the god
Spirit of the forest.
forest. Yes,
What do you inquire?
he has spoken to me.
A more direct deity than most.
Yes, he's the one that directed me and my fellows here.
Divine intervention is your path.
Yes, and when I touched the statue, he spoke to me again.
Maybe a favorite of the spirit.
That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
You certainly would. But be careful. The favorites of the deities never end their service. It's an eternal journey and an endless run.
Well, our goals seem to be aligned, so seems fine.
That's good to know, good to hear, good to feel. when gods take particular interests in mortals, that can be the trials of our greatest challenges.
Like, is he gonna test me or something?
Probably. All gods have their own way of testing individuals.
I'll keep my eye out. I'm gonna, like, keep my hand close to my axe.
Yep. Kane is like following suit with like, oh, I'm ready to, and there's nothing going on in here. There's just absolute church peaceful sleepiness going on in this area. It smells nice too. Very lavender smells all throughout. Natural lavender. You can even see the lavender leaves or branches, bushels, stems, whatever you would take off it. They're laid about in various areas, across tables and on the floor and stuff like that.
Well, this is a beautiful temple.
Thank you very much. It's been here before me, carved by those who founded Nature's Hold. The first king of the north, only to be destroyed by the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth, on to the sixth, and then Brine at the seventh. And it still stands here, and I would wager quite a hefty bet that it'll be here after Brine leaves, and the next, and the next, and the next.
Well, thank you for your time. Does anyone else have anything they want to do?
No. Oh, wonderful. Serves you all out. Says a nice goodbye. You guys leave. Tyrion. No.
How dare you?
How dare you? I'm running so many characters. How dare you?
Harry.
Harry, you and Salem return up to Blackstaff. Salem gives signs like, yeah, he's with me. Fuck off. Ulazal catches up with you guys at the temple. You have your whole group. You guys are going with the Blackstaff. I'd say you guys even have the chance to see Ari with walking with Salem, so you all can group up if you so choose.
Yeah. Oh, there's Ari.
Oh, hello.
What's going on?
I was showing them our friend the Ram.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, he was hanging out for a bit down there. Although it kind of looked like he left. He went through a portal.
Oh man, I'm sad I missed it. Guy's hilarious.
Yes. Turns out it stole the sun gem.
Sun gem.
You see Ulazal hold it up?
Don't know what that is.
We got it back.
That looks important.
That important
that
thing.
Yes.
Do we know it's the sun gem, though? Does your characters know it's the sun gem? I think you know it's a gemstone. I think that's it. I don't think you guys know it's the sun gem. I think Tyrion and the other
That's
one knows,
Waterdeep, yeah.
They have an idea that there's a sun gem out there.
The tablet gem thing.
Yeah.
It's the yellow gem.
Yeah.
Yeah. We know it's important.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But we got it back, obviously.
That looks important.
Hellish beast, unholy, unnatural, as he puts it away.
So now we're gonna go talk to Blackstaff, the Blackstaff lady person. About it. Because it sounds like it's something she might be interested in.
You see Kane start to speak, and it starts being Gerbil again, and you see Ulazal go, oh, I got this. And he casts Commune, so we all can talk again. You see Kane like, oh, is it working again? Oh, good. Oh, great, wonderful. Blackstaff, she could probably help us get back to Strongclaw. I think I'll ask her, too. Two
Good
birds.
point.
2 birds, 1 spear.
I mean, would you want us to send? You probably shouldn't go back alone, but it might be, given the situation you came out of, it might be too dangerous. I mean, how dangerous would it be for you to go back?
Could be as dangerous as going into a thunderstep's nest, or it could be as dangerous as going into a willow wamp's nest. It doesn't. I have no idea.
What are those?
Well, a thunder is this big, massive-looking creature, a big maw, and it's got these big-ass legs and long tail. Stomps around and can eat things whole, including me's. And then
I think that's the thing we ran into.
Oh, it's got it.
Well, there's even bigger ones. I don't know. If we're going on a massive scale, then those are the shifty fingers. Those things are fucked. Or
Well, because we
fingers.
we ran into the smaller ones, small quick ones in the like the tall grass.
Oh, those are curved claws.
But then we also ran into the very like the 40 like double three times the trees.
Oh no, that's the biggest of them. Some just call them death. That's a really good name for them.
Yeah.
But they go shifty fingers because they're always moving them damn fingers, big ass claws, and I can't remember the other fucking name. There's another name for them. What the hell is it? Well, there's another name I can't think of right now. I'll get back to you on that. The head's not working after one too many punches from the big Minotaur bad guy and his little ball.
I guess the concern is if you're going. I mean, are you going alone? Because then you'll have no way to come back.
Well, it'd be nice if you guys come with. And if Blackstaff teleports me there, I'm certainly gonna need her to teleport me back. So.
And because I mean, we have our own quest. We're on our own timeline to try and further bolster the North, and we have to get started on that as well. And
we have to be here.
Yeah, we can't be everywhere at once, unfortunately.
Sure. Well, I mean, you said you're staying another 1 to 2 days. Maybe we just check for half a day, see what's going on. And maybe I convince some of my friends to help out with the North. That's your problem. I'm sure some of if anyone lived, might fight. I mean, they're going to need something to do.
I think we can spare half a day.
All right. You see Salem just eyeing this all up?
We'll have to be very careful, though.
Right. We'll see what the Black Staff has to say about this. All right, let's go. And you all go towards the Blackstaff. As you're inside, you walk into the Blackstaff. Right now...
I'm inside of her.
Nope. You walk inside the Blackstaff's room, you fucking gross person. And
I'm wearing her skin.
You're inside these chambers. They are very much remnants of other fancy noble chambers of the North. With their colors, their drapery, the natural growth in here. All the soldiers seem to have their spears drawn, and they are circling as Salem pushes up. He's like, what's the problem? What's the problem? And you see Blackstaff right now in a tugging war match with the fucking ram.
Oh my god. How is it in this room?
Salem, you say that out loud. What's going on? And you see the Blackstaff. Salem, what is happening? And you see him just like, he comes up and he's like pushes and cuts away the ram's face, and the ram goes off. He's like, I was just coming up to talk to you about this very thing. You see the Blackstaff with her gets it back up. She just whacks it on the top of the head. You see the ram, hell darkness. Yeah, it gets smacked in the face. It sits down. You see him.
I turn to the guards. Those weapons they're not gonna do anything to this thing.
You see one of the Waterdeep guards just jab at it. As it jabs, it just like hits into it, doesn't go anywhere, comes back, and it's a little chipped and broken. What the fuck? You see Vera. All right. Well, talk. why is this in my chambers, and why does it keep trying to steal my staff? As you see, like, one of its hoofs, like, just out while it's sitting right now, being like, give me the staff. Give me the fucking staff.
Well, why it's stealing it is probably just because it wants it.
You see Salem by the paws of it, and he's just, like, knocking its little hoof down. It's like, fucking cut it out. And it's just like...
It just kind of takes things, and we just found out it's able to... Oh, so let's start from the beginning. So
yes, please.
We ran into this in our adventures a few months back. It's kind of a fiend goat ram.
Look over to it as the eyes are just dangling around. Right.
It can actually use some sort of demonic magical powers. We actually just found out it stores all its stolen goods in some sort of pocket magic thing.
All the guards, she motions, and they're just like creating a wall between you and her and the ram right now, just making sure it's not gonna try and steal the staff again.
It's not violent. It just likes to take things, and it very much enjoys when you say "Hail the Dark."
Hail the darkness! You hear it from a different part of the room.
Where did it go?
As you all turn, because as the guards went in front of it, you guys lost line of sight, and as soon as you hear "Hail the darkness," you see Ulazal. It's right next to Ulazal. He has the stone. He's like, no! You see it? It's trying to take the stone again, just leaning in. He's like, get back for Tyr's sake! And Ulazal now maneuvers himself to the other side of the room. And you see Vera just sort of crack a smile, and she's just like, is this a giant fiend baby, or what is going on?
We don't really know. That's actually why I grabbed Salem, and we thought you might be interested in investigating this thing, because hold on a second. Investigating this thing. Our friend here, Bologna, she is very good at tracking creatures and identifying them, and apparently it's immune to everything. Magic, weapons, anything that might hurt it.
That is fascinating. You see Salem nod. He's like, I believe I mentioned something like this in my reports. That's a 27 on her Arcana check.
Oh, God.
She takes a moment, and with the black staff, she puts it against her side, and with her hand, she starts weaving runes and saying some words in the air as she's going through sort of ritual. Her eyes glow white for a little, like the whites of her eyes glow a little brighter, and she seems to be dipping into some sort of like arcane library, and she's referencing stuff in an invisible world you can't see right now, and she's just spinning through it, trying to think of things and doing her best for all that. She comes back to, and Salem is giving a look, very much seen this happen before, interested to see what she has to say about this whole ordeal. And she raises a little bit of an eyebrow, and Salem goes, I don't have the slightest idea what this is. Besides what they've told you at face value, it is a very strange creature. Where did it go? Where did it go? And and everyone starts looking around right now. All the guards are starting to have a completely different demeanor. Just like, how does it keep moving? It's so large. It can't do this.
Hail the darkness.
Hail the darkness. You see it back in the corner. It was. What the fuck? What the fuck? You see one of the guys like, I didn't sign up for this. It's just like, you signed up for this. And he's like, you're right. Vera looks, well, it's tough to say. You're correct in your magical assessment. Bellona, you are truly extraordinary if you can surmise that through your own abilities. The creature itself is invulnerable to anything that would cause it harm. It might be a curse, it might be a boon from some other deity. It sounds quite like she stops for a moment. And she tries something else this time. Her eyes start going a purple. We're in the whites right now, and you can see she's changed her angle, and she's sliding a little deeper. And you can see the eyes, the googly eyes, sort of lock as Vera is doing some sort of spell here, trying to gather more information about it. And you see it looking at her, and you see it go eye to eye. And as the spell finishes its eyes go back to being little doodle bugs at the underneath it. She, ever stranger, I feel as though there is this sort of arcane nature to it is that of a divine nature. This is coming from a deity, if strangely enough, it's not a deity itself. I would like to know more about it, and if it hangs around Yuahul, then maybe periodically I will send some of our researchers to try and see what we can gather from this individual. And she stares ever closer and leans in really close. It just goes, ah! And grabs the staff. She's like, no! And she starts pulling the staff back out again. And you can just hear, so she gets it back out. Salem and all the guards push it back out. And you see it just, and as they're all like, all right. And Kane is like, well, that's very exciting, but I have a favor to ask if you wouldn't mind. I need to get back to my home to see if there's any survivors. You seem to be one of the only people that know how to use that teleport pad. I would ask Eve, but she's missing her arms and legs, and she's not really alive. So that's out. You're the only person I've seen ever, really. That's magical, too. Well, magical enough for teleports. As he looks to your group, he's like, no offense, I'm not... Is it hot in here? As he's saying this, and all the guards are looking.
Actually, I would imagine Ralia would probably perk up and say, well, actually...
Yes, actually, I can use the same sequences as... remember, I took us here. And you see Kane like, that is true. That is true. So, I guess either of you would work then. I wouldn't have to bother the Black Staff. And she's just like... Strongclaw. You know, I have a interest. I do not see your kind, nor have I seen friendly versions of your kind from the few of your kind I have seen. Your homeland may be interesting. And in this strange time and stranger days, and maybe worthwhile to at least take a look. And we can take a couple of you with us, so I would not feel in danger. As you see Calgary already about voicing those concerns, and he's like, all right, whatever.
I think it'd be better to be well equipped, because it was just this morning, and it sounded like they were under attack.
You see, Kane, we were fighting for about last 24 hours. When I escaped, it was over and they were leaving, but they might have been leaving to get more resources to strike back. I'm uncertain. But the fight was over. That's the only reason I got to escape with Eve. And that's the only reason I found Eve while I was fighting. It was quite a conflict. Almost right after you all left. That timing was stranger than strange. You notice 3 guards are missing their spears right now?
I look at the fucking goat.
The goat has 3 spears in its mouth as it goes and puts it in a little circle on the ground that's formed and just gone into the circle.
Yeah, somebody should keep an eye on that at all times.
You see the other guards. What the fuck? What? Oh no! Did it take mine? Where's yours? And they start having their little deliberation as the goat just sort of starts backing up the wall in here, but he's so large. He's so large that, like, as he's backing up the wall, his butt's already hitting the ceiling. So he just sort of pinned himself as his horns are now into the ground and just, like, pretending to be stealthed.
How tall is this thing?
Massive. It's like double or triple the size of a normal ram.
Oh, geez. I was
It's
picturing
huge.
a normal ram.
It's
no,
huge.
this thing is like 8 to 10 feet big.
It's so large.
It's big.
8 to 10 feet big.
It's
He doesn't have to-
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It looks so goofy and out of place.
And yet it's so stealthy.
Somehow.
How does it do it?
Magic.
Duh.
All right. Well, why not? I'll gather some stings. We'll meet in an hour. Maybe talk with the King of the North when we come back. But let's take a little look. I have the largest curiosity. Everybody nods. Everybody agrees. What are you all doing in the sense that what would you like to do going forward? It would seem that Blackstaff has decided to take a guard, sail in Calgary. It's going to take Kane as well. And whoever wants to come along, that can another 3 that can come along, and then Ralia can teleport the rest as well if she so chooses. Mm-hmm. If more people want to join or stay back.
Cool beans.
I think probably most of the group would want to go.
All right. I'll say the whole group wants to go. And with that, the King of the North is very much interested as well, as you guys run into some of our sworn, and then they're like, we'll tag along too, just in case. One of the sworn posing as Brine tags along as well, keeping up imagery, being like, oh, I do want to see that. Let's see. So you guys go on the teleport pads, as the idea of lizard folk allies is a nice one for Brine, where Vera is more curious about the arcane circle, why it was set up in a different place that's somewhere she's never heard of. She has no idea what the hell Strongclaw is or where it is. Like, she's just trying to figure out this interesting dilemma that's happened today. So all of you go on the teleport pad, and you teleport to Strongclaw. As you enter into
I'm
cave.
marking off a 5th level for Ralia.
Thank you. Actually, can you even edit that?
I can't edit it, but I'm just writing it down.
Good. She does that. Blackstaff's able to, again, you guys have noticed she's used quite a lot of teleport spells, and there's some way she's either recovering her spells incredibly fast or has different reserves in which she can call upon spells to use these arcane circles, or there's yet another explanation for why she can use teleport circles at seemingly much easier cost than Ralia. You both return into a pitch black cave where a light spell is cast by the Blackstaff into here, and the darkness illuminates, and you can see the reflection of all those gemstones that you once walked by in Strongclaw. Bodies all over the place, body parts, blood, gore, guts, violence, that giant gate that is behind this area. And this is a room that resembles the teleport room you just came from, but it only has 5 circles on the outside and 1 big circle on the inside. The big circle, you did not take the big circle, if I recall. You only took one of the smaller ones. As the Blackstaff comes and Brine are looking around, their mouths sort of drop as Kane comes, and he starts walking away, and he's like, turns back, what? It is pretty in here, but we should probably go see if it's safe. And they all look, okay. The group goes outside, and you guys see this horrible display of just massacre. Bodies, parts of lizard folks lay everywhere. Blood is all over the grass and against the walls, and so much of, remember, this very Aztec looking area and structure in sandstone is just, there's a silence that even like the birds have stopped chirping here. Your normalcy of the forest, Bologna, is just red flags of just how quiet it is. Normally there's always a hum unless there's predators around, but this is even quieter when there's predators around. It's like this graveyard of sorts. You've all come upon this massacre. You see Kane looking around, and he just starts calling out for individuals and names. He starts moving deeper into the cities and temples, looking around. As you all see the gemstones and there's rocks as you get closer in, and the heat hits you as the north was getting really, you're starting to feel the winds of autumn, and the winter is coming inside the north. Here it is still very, very warm. And as Brine and everyone starts looking around, Kane hears a callback to one of his calls, and he rushes towards one of these pyramid structures, and the rest of the group follows suit. And as you guys enter,
Yeah, I'm gonna, as an action, expand a spell slot to do primeval awareness.
Yes.
And sense if there's any aberrations, celestials, dragons, elementals, fey, fiends, or undead present within a mile.
As you do that spell, you find it initially hits something. Do you know exactly what it is when you do this?
It doesn't reveal the creature's location or number, so it's kind of just like there's something around.
You feel it very far in the distance, and then you lose it. It seems to have now gone past that mile mark.
Okay.
And as you guys enter, or like you stay back below as you're watching as people are following Kane as he sprints into this temple. That's where we'll end tonight's episode.